Hello, thank you for joining with me. We are in A Course in Miracles, workbook for students. Part 2 of the workbook, Bentley Hush, section 10, lesson 318. We are reading out of section 10, What is the Last Judgment? And we are in, lesson 318. In me, salvation's means and end are one. In me, God's Holy Son, we are reconciled, all parts of heaven's plan to save the world. Footnote 131. Since each person is given his or her own special part in God's plan, see the previous lesson, all parts simply refers to all of those individual parts. What could conflict when all the parts have but one purpose? What could conflict when all the parts have but one purpose and one aim? How could there be a single part that stands aside, or one of more or less importance than the rest? I am the means by which the Father's Son is saved, because salvation's purpose is to find the sinlessness that God has placed in me. I was created as the thing I seek. I am the goal the world is searching for. I am God's Son, His one eternal love. I am salvation's means and end as well. Footnote 132, I am salvation's means in that I help bring salvation about through my special function. I am salvation's end because the goal of salvation is to find the sinlessness that God has placed in me and in all of us. Let me today, my Father, take the role you offer me in your request that I accept atonement for myself. For thus does what is thereby reconciled in me become as surely reconciled to you. This is the practice suggestion by Robert Perry. In repeating today's idea, I have found it helpful to reword it slightly. I am the means of salvation, and I am the end. Commentary by Alan Watson. In other words, putting it very simply, the goal of salvation is what I already am. And the vehicle for bringing about salvation is also what I am. I am what salvation is, and I am the way to get there. Salvation is the recognition of oneness. How then could there be any single part that stands alone, or that is more or less important than the rest? The means of salvation is not in some other part of creation upon which I am dependent. The wholeness is what it is all about. Therefore, the means of getting there and the there we are getting to must be all the same thing, and therefore must be within me. I am the means by which God's Son is saved, because salvation's purpose is to find the sinlessness that God has placed in me. The sinlessness is already there, in me, placed there by God. So, since the purpose of salvation is finding that sinlessness, I must be the means by which salvation happens. I carry the answer within myself. I absolutely love these next few sentences. To me, if I can allow my disbelief to be suspended just for a moment, just long enough to feel the import of these words, I will get what they are saying. I was created as the thing I seek. I am the goal the world is searching for. I am God's Son, His one eternal love. I am salvation's means and end as well. I am the thing I seek because I have been it since I was created. I am seeking only for myself, and where can myself be but in me? This is a search that is guaranteed to succeed because I already am what I am seeking for. The only reason there appears to be a journey of seeking is because I have forgotten what I already am. There is really nowhere to go. Try repeating to yourself several times, I am the goal the world is searching for. You are the goal the world is searching for. You are the goal the world is searching for. Try it, see how it feels. You are the goal the world is searching for. Notice the thoughts that come up in denial of what you are saying and take a good look at them. Notice what it is you are believing about yourself that keeps you from saying these words and meaning them with all your heart and without reservation. We think we have a disease of sin that we are seeking to cure, a disease of guilt and of separation. But the seeking is part of the disease. In fact, there is no disease, and only the seeking makes it seem as if there is. If we can, for a moment, stop presupposing that we are separate, we will simply realize that we are not. Truth will dawn upon us of itself. Relax, you're okay. We have no need but to accept the atonement, to accept our oneness with God, to realize that enlightenment is only a recognition and not a change at all. We don't need to change. We need to accept what we have always been. Let me today, my Father, take the role you offer me in your request that I accept atonement for myself. For thus does what is thereby reconciled in me become as surely reconciled to you. And now please close your eyes as I lead us into meditation. In me, salvation's means and end are one. Let me today, my Father, take the role you offer me in your request that I accept atonement for myself. For thus does what is thereby reconciled in me become as surely reconciled to you. In me, salvation's means and end are one. Thank you so much for joining with me in that meditation of lesson 318. I did not produce a second What is the Last Judgment video. Honestly, I just haven't had the time. So I've just been reading the commentary after the lesson in Alan Watson's book, which the cover came off, in the Course Companions book, which is commentary on A Course in Miracles. So I will just continue that way, seeing as how we are almost done with part 10 of workbook, section 10 of part 2 of the workbook for students. What is the last judgment? This is paragraph 4, sentences 2 through 6, and we will read the sentences in the text, in his commentary. In the final evaluation, the last judgment is really just love. It is God acknowledging His Son as His Son. God's love for us, in the last analysis, is the only thing that will heal all sorrow, wipe away all tears, and gently waken us from our dream of pain. We may think, and indeed we do think, that something other than God's love will be able to do that for us. We must think so, or else why would we spend so much time looking for it? Yet love stands, waiting for us to receive it. We keep looking elsewhere because in our insanity, we are afraid of the love being offered to us. Our egos have taught us to be afraid of God and afraid of His love. We are afraid it will somehow swallow us up and make us disappear. But would love do that and still be love? Twice we are told not to be afraid of love. That is one way of looking at the whole of what we are learning. To not be afraid of love. Instead, we are asked to give it welcome, and it is your acceptance of love and mine that will save the world and set it free. We are so afraid that by really opening to love, we will be hurt. Taking the path of love so often seems to us to be taking the path of weakness. Greta's saying hello. There is so much emphasis on watching out for number 1, on setting our boundaries, on keeping our distance, on avoiding being victimized. Those things have their place, to be sure, and yet sometimes I think they are excuses for separation. Excuses for remaining isolated. I can certainly see that in my life. Excuses for avoiding love. Giving love seems difficult and receiving it even more difficult. Yet, in the end, opening to both giving and receiving love, which are the same in reality, is all that is needed. We are love, and only in opening to love fully will we discover that truth of our own being. Thank you so much for joining with me in lesson 318. My cords are stuck, sorry. In me, salvation's means and end are one. I love you. Have a beautiful day.